Can you hear me now? I have added a audio now. Can you hear me? Is my audio okay now? Can you hear me now? Yeah, I think the audio is working fine now. Great. So yeah, it's a new setup. Previously I just used to use my tab and stream from there, so the setup was quite simple, but obviously the quality of the stream was not that great, I suppose. So I decided to invest in few other things like mic and now I'm using camera as a webcam. So so hopefully the video quality will also be better. So yeah, there were some issues, and this morning I was trying to set up the stream, and I didn't realize that I went live. So yeah, I couldn't test my audio at that time because it's just really hard to test those things up front. But anyways, now you're able to hear me, which is good. So yeah, I will call it a live session or live Q&A season 2 because I used to do it last year and last to last year, but I stopped doing it in April 2024 because there were a lot of things happening. A lot of things have changed since then. But I think now is a good time to start doing these live Q&As, and I hope I'll be able to answer a lot more questions. And I think this is the right time also because I've been getting quite a lot of questions on LinkedIn, YouTube, and also on Telegram. So I decided to take one of the questions as a main question for today's session. So I will answer that question, and then I will open it to the chat, and you can ask whatever questions you have, and I will try to answer those questions in this session. In the meantime, you can always put your questions in the chat, and I will take them one by one. But the first question and the main question, which you might have already seen in the thumbnail, I will answer that question first. So there are few points I have made note of them because it's hard to remember all of them, right? So I made a note of all those questions and all those points, and I will talk about them one by one. But if you need any detailed description about any of those points, do let me know in the chat. I will try to elaborate on those things. But first I will go through all the points and then I will come back to the questions. So, how to stay relevant in the world of data science in 2025? So the first thing is you need to be very clear with your foundations. And when I say foundation, I don't mean only Python and maths and stat. I also include machine learning and deep learning now because the data science world has advanced quite a lot in recent years. So yes, you need to be very good with your foundations. The next one is going to be understanding how to use AI based analytical tools. So there are a lot of startups and even bigger organizations. They are trying to create these AI based analytical tools where you can ask questions using your natural language. So you can ask what are the sales, and the AI will be able to go back to the data, analyze the data, and give you the result in natural language or in the form of plots and charts. So there is an argument, why do you need that dashboards and all? You can just simply talk to AI and get all the relevant answers. But then there is another argument that dashboards are required. So it's better if you are able to make use of these analytical tools and answer those questions, and then also have the ability to go and verify whether those answers are correct or not. Because if you are someone from business background, you may ask the question and you'll have to rely on the answers and you have to believe the answers are correct. But if you are someone who is from analytical background, you can always go back and verify whether the answer is correct or not. So yeah, make use of analytical AI based analytical tools, and Now the next point is how to link different systems together. While AI or Gen AI or large language model, they are good at generating code and creating microsystems. It's really hard for them at this point to link different systems together. So you need to, if you have the ability to do that, make different API calls, connect different systems together, I think you will be good and it will act as a very good plus point for your profile. So don't just write code in your Jupyter notebook. Make sure you're trying to incorporate multiple systems together. The next point would be work on the projects that have real life implications. So when learning stuff, we tend to work on the very small projects and very simple projects. But it's good to learn new stuff. But I think it's also important to work on some of the real life implication projects, because that way you will gain some experience and you will also learn about that domain and business as well. Which brings us to the next topic, which is develop strong business acumen. And when I say develop business acumen, I don't just mean that understand the business. What you need to develop is to be able to ask those difficult questions like why do you need this solution? How do you need this solution? How will you use this solution? Because that way you will be able to design the solution in a better way. And maybe whatever was the ask, that was not the right ask. So you will be able to figure out what is going to be the right deliverables. Next one is don't compete with Gen AI, embrace it and use it to increase your productivity. Because if you try to compete with AI, which has access to information which is available on the internet, and if you try to compete with it, you will definitely going to fail. So don't compete against it, try to embrace it and make use of it. The next one is continuous learning. As you might already know, the world of data science moves very fast. Every day there is something new. So you need to be someone who loves to learn new stuff, and if you continue learning, you will be relevant in the market. And the last point is simplify the complex stuff. And if you have the ability to simplify complex stuff and explain it to your non-technical stakeholders and communicate well, I think you will do really good in the world of data science and you will stay relevant for a very, very, very long time. So those were some of the points. I can always elaborate on these things. So if you need dedicated video on this topic, I can do that. Do let me know in the chat. But those were the points which I wanted to talk about in this session. Now I can maybe take a look at the chat and see if we have any questions. With the masters in data science, I feel so out of look that I started learning data engineering to get my first job in the UK. Right, yeah, even look. Understood. Yes, I think that's a good approach, because sometimes when you are very new to data science, it can be really daunting to learn everything and then compete with the people who might have 5, 6, 7, 10 years of experience, who already knew the basics of or even advanced level of machine learning and deep learning, and they only had to pick up new stuff which is coming in the market. So it can be really hard to compete with those kind of people. So it's a good approach. You can go ahead with data engineering. You can strengthen your skills and knowledge in that domain, and it's only gonna help, because if you have a very strong understanding of data engineering and eventually if you move to data science, you will be able to structure your pipeline in a much better way than someone who is specialized in data analytics or data or machine learning, something like that. So I would say it's a good approach, and hopefully you should be able to get something, because I'm not saying that data engineering does not move forward at a pace similar to data science, but definitely it's not faster than data science or much more advanced? Because when we talk about data science, it's more like an umbrella term under which you have data engineers, you have data analysts, you have machine learning engineer, deep learning engineer, Gen AI engineer. For a brief moment, there were some prompt engineers as well, which has reduced a lot these days, but those jobs were also considered under data science. So yeah, I think you will be fine. Focus on data engineering for now, and then eventually you can start looking into data analytics and data science, so that way you will have specialization in all the different domains under data science umbrella term. I think there is a slight lag between the stream or the broadcast and the stream. So yeah, if you ask a question and if I come on to that question slightly later, so that's because of the lag. So what have you been up to these days? Well, quite a lot of things changed actually. I have moved from Newcastle to Durham now, and I've got married, and I have changed quite a lot of setup, as you can see. Yeah, so quite a lot of new welcoming changes, I would say. And in terms of job, I think it's going quite well. I am enjoying my role. I'm enjoying the projects which I'm currently working on, and I have enjoyed the kind of projects I have worked on in past year or so. So I would say, yeah, overall quite good. But yeah, a lot of changes. Thanks, mate. If I may ask, you mentioned even with the masters in data science, I feel so out of loop. So, which university you did your masters, or maybe doing your masters, and what was your course, and maybe if you want to talk about briefly about the modules that you had. I just want to understand about the curriculum. University of South Wales, right? Okay. It's been a while. I haven't looked into the curriculum of different universities. Um, we had a decent curriculum, I think. That's good to know. I think if you were happy with the curriculum and modules, I think it's good. It touched stats, big data, machine learning, and deep learning. Yeah, I think to start with, these are the really good modules. And when I was looking for universities to attend masters, these were the modules which I was looking for as well. So yeah, these are good, I think. Are you still enrolled in masters, or have you completed your masters already? I'm just not sure I'm well equipped to get a job in this job market. I totally get it. It can be difficult, and job market, the state of the job market that is right now also doesn't help much. So yeah, one thing that I would suggest is don't something's happening on my screen, just a second. Right. Yeah. So one thing that I would suggest is don't take a toll on your confidence, and don't think like you're maybe not skilled enough. If you're thinking that way, just an advice. Don't think that way, because there are quite a lot of jobs in the market which are not actually job. They are just fake listings. So if you're getting rejected from them, it's no big deal. But if you are going through an interview and after some point you're not able to clear the interview, then reflect back on those interview sessions and then the questions they asked. And if you felt you did not answer those questions well, why you couldn't answer those questions well. So maybe think about those things, and hopefully it will help you prepare well for your next interview. And just keep learning stuff, maybe start working on some of the projects which you might already be working, and try to create a portfolio out of those projects, because portfolios have a pretty big impact. That's what I have seen. Plain old resume might not be enough these days. Having some of the good LinkedIn profile, GitHub profile, and a portfolio can really help. So yeah, I would suggest maybe focus on those things as well. How shall we apply for jobs while in UK? Like on LinkedIn, company portal, contact recruitment firms, as checking with people working in the big organizations with thousands of people. I think all of those. So whichever ways you can try, I think you should do it. LinkedIn is one of the largest platform where you can apply for jobs. And when I was finding job, I was applying for all the jobs on LinkedIn itself. I did try some of the other websites like CV Library, Total Jobs, Target Jobs. So there are quite a lot of UK specific job websites, and I tried applying on those as well. But the majority of the response that I got was from LinkedIn. So that was my go-to platform. At the start, I thought LinkedIn might not be the good place, but eventually I got my job from LinkedIn itself. And it's always good to apply on company portal as well. So if you know there is an opening in a company, and if you have anyone who is working in that company, and if you know them, and if you think you can reach out to them for a reference, I think that would be really good. You should do that. But if not, then you can directly go on to the company's portal and apply there as well. So I think between LinkedIn and company portal, it doesn't really matter much. You apply from LinkedIn or company's portal. But if the job posting is not on LinkedIn, it's always safe to go and apply on a company. For example, if you really want to work in XYZ company, and you check their career page, and if they have a position open which is very well suited for you, you can apply there for sure. One other thing that you can do is, if you find a job opening on the company's page, you can come back to LinkedIn and try to search for someone who is working in a similar domain there, and maybe ask, I see this opening in your company, will you be willing to provide a reference for me there? So if you get that, I think that would be good. And there are quite a lot of job postings on LinkedIn posted by recruitment firms as well. So when you apply to that one job, they keep your CV in their database, and if they find a suitable role for you, they will always reach out to you for some other role, if not for the role which you applied for. So that is there. But if you think you have not registered with certain recruitment firm, it's always worth reaching out to them and maybe provide your CV, so they will be in touch when there are any openings related to your profile. Received results early this month, graduation Jan. Congratulations. Yeah, so you still have some time, and it's a holiday period now, so maybe if you apply for a job, it will take some time for them to come back to you, but I think things will again start to pick up pace in mid-Jan, so hopefully you will start receiving some calls at that time. Thanks a lot. And how to check if a job is sponsored or not? Some of the job postings or the job listing, they do mention that they can provide sponsorship. Most of the jobs where they cannot provide sponsorship, they tend to write it in the job description itself that you need to have a visa. So from there you will get an idea that it's not a sponsored job. But if you have this question, you can always ask the recruiter whether you will be sponsoring my visa for this role or not. That is the most reliable way to get to know whether a job is sponsored or not. By the way, bro, is your job sponsored? Yes, it is. It is a sponsored job. Just a quick update on the videos that you might expect in coming days. I'm working on some of the interesting or maybe fun project sort of videos. So those videos might come in next week or so. And then some of the discussion points as well. I have made a list of quite a lot of video ideas that I would like to work on, because now this holiday period will start from 25th till 1st of Jan, so I will have some time to work on these YouTube videos and live sessions. So yeah, some really exciting videos coming your way. But if you have anything specific that you want to know, I think these live Q&As are the really good place to maybe ask those questions, and I can obviously answer those questions here, but when I make a video, I do a little bit of research around those things and try to explain things in a much better way. So if you want a video on a specific topic or a specific question, do let me know here. I can always make a video on that. As experienced developer, do we need to create projects and portfolio as well? If you have experience of about 4-5 years or maybe more, maybe no, you don't need to create projects and a portfolio, because you have experience in a relevant field. Well, yeah, if you have that 4-5 years of experience in a relevant field, then you don't need to create a project and a portfolio. because you can always show that you have worked on similar things in your past company, so you'll be good to go. But if you have experience but in a role which was not relevant to data science, then I think it is important to have those projects and those projects in your portfolio, even if you are even if you have like 10 years of experience but in something which was completely irrelevant to data science. On the top of your head, anything which might help with job search in UK? There are few things like having a good connection always helps. And I have mentioned this quite a lot of times in my videos and also in live Q&As, that it's important to go to some of the data science, data analytics meetups, because sometimes a lot of the attenders or attendees of those meetups, they tend to come there to just see what all things are going on in the world of data science, and they want to take that inspiration for their own organization. And sometimes they can have openings as well, so they tend to come to those meetings and try to find some talent. So if there is a presenter who is presenting on XYZ topic, and then there is a hiring manager who is present there, and they think this guy can be good for our company, they can just directly go and talk to that presenter and be like, we have this opening, would you like to join us? So if you are someone who is just attending the meetup, maybe not a presenter, you can talk to some of the people and you can tell them that I have experience in this, I really like working on such things, what are you doing? So just try to have a conversation, and from that conversation they might tell you that we have this opening, and then you can always ask, can you refer me for this particular position? That always helps. I got my internship that way. I attended one of the meetups, and then the director of that small startup was present there. He talked about the projects that he's currently working on, and he left his card. I took the card, I sent him an email. I was like, I am currently doing my master's, I really like the projects that you're working on, and I think we have similar interests. Can we maybe discuss about the projects, and if you think I'm a suitable candidate, I would be more than happy to work on those projects. And the next thing I knew was that I have an internship. It was a pretty good internship. I gained quite a lot of experience from there, interesting projects. So yeah, meetups are really good. You should definitely attend some of the meetups. Rest, I think it's all about applying jobs. One other thing I would like to mention is that on YouTube, there are a lot of people, they talk about customizing, personalizing your CV for each and every role. I personally don't believe in that. I might get quite a lot of shout on those things, that how can you even say those things. But I personally think that if you personalize your CV, it takes quite a lot of time, and you may not be able to apply to enough number of jobs to even get a call. So I would say maybe create a good overall CV which has your best projects and demonstrates all your skills nicely in a structured way, and use that CV to apply to as many jobs as possible. So it's more about quantity and less about quality. So that's what I would suggest. Don't focus too much on personalizing your CV for each and every job, because there are quite a lot of jobs in the market which are fake. So you end up personalizing your CV for a fake job, which is quite sure that you will not get a call for that particular role. I have 5 years of experience in India and around 6 months, but it is pretty hard to get any callbacks from the role I am applying. It is understandable because when I was doing my masters, I had a friend. Even she had around 5-6 years of experience, but she applied to around 100 plus jobs without any call. And I was reading one of the research about applying for job, and it said that if you haven't applied for at least 500 jobs, you haven't applied enough. So it's all about applying for as many number of jobs as possible, and then eventually you will get a call. But when you get a call, I think you need to make sure that you convert that call into a job offer, because getting a call is the hardest thing. Clearing the interview shouldn't be that hard. So yeah, that's what I would suggest, and maybe try to go to meetups as I mentioned earlier. And should we go for small organizations or MNCs? I mean, to start with, I think you should not be worried about small organization or MNCs. Your first goal should be to have at least one offer in your hand by the time you finish your masters. But if you have already finished your masters, then I think your goal should be to have some offer as soon as possible. But if you're able to get into MNCs, I think the benefit is that they will most likely be on the approved sponsored list. So there are chances that you will get the sponsorship eventually. And these days it's really hard to say or talk about job security, because even in MNCs you can lose job pretty quickly. But they are still relatively stable as compared to smaller organizations or startups, because even a small thing change, smaller organizations can have much worse impact, but bigger organizations like MNCs can absorb those smaller waves in the current pretty easily. But I think if you're able to get into a smaller organization, I think you will have a lot more visibility. You will be able to showcase your work a lot easier. And eventually, if the smaller organization decides to go for sponsorship, they can provide you sponsorship as well. It's not a big thing for the smaller organizations to get approval to sponsor someone. Same, I also feel personalizing for for every posting is stupid. I just try to change the projects while applying on a company's background. Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment. So yeah, apply to as many jobs as possible, and hopefully you should be able to get some calls. One other thing that comes to my mind now is that usually when you get a phone call, they say that it's a friendly call. We just want to understand about your background, give you some information about the company. They're still assessing few things there, such as your communication skills, how well you communicate, how well you are able to present yourself, how well you are able to simplify your background and the project that you have worked in the past, your experience, those kind of things. So they're still assessing you. So don't think that if you make some mistakes there, it's okay. If you are in your first second call, that is probably fine, but as you know, getting a call is a very difficult thing. So even it's your first call, it's important to convert it into a job role. a job offer. So yeah, I think they're assessing you at every stage of the hiring process. So you need to have a good communication skills as well. Um, so if you think you struggle to maybe communicate well, practice every day, assuming that you have received a call from a hiring manager and they want to understand about your background, and also maybe you can google about what are the general questions they might ask. Usually it's just trying to understand about you. They might ask you, tell me about yourself, tell me about your past experience, your masters if you have done that course, those kind of things. And then they might also ask you about why did you apply for this role, which doesn't really happen on the first call, because I think even they understand that you apply to 100 different jobs and you just get a random call saying that we received your application for so and so company. It's just really hard for anyone to just know that what was there in the description. So I think they might not ask you that question, but I think it's always good to be prepared for. So yeah, practice those things, how to introduce yourself, how to talk about your past experience, those kind of things, and make most out of that first call. I have 3 years experience in India. While applying here, I removed my work location in my resume. Do you think it's a bad thing? No, not really. You're not lying about anything, so that's fine. It is not bad at all. If you don't want to include your work location, that's perfectly fine. The current streaming setup is little bit complex, but to be honest, I'm actually enjoying this setup a lot more as compared to the previous setup, because I can monitor how the stream is. Because I did notice a few minutes back that the stream was dropping a little bit, but now it is showing excellent connection, so that's good. So I can monitor those things, but it was really hard to monitor these things when I was streaming from my tab. And also I have a lot more customization options here, so it's good. Also titles are network analyst and systems engineer, but I worked on data analytics. Can I just change my you definitely can do it, yes. You can change it to data analyst for sure, because when you work in organizations like Accenture, Infosys, there you have a very generic, even in Google, Amazon, they have very generic job titles like software developer, systems engineer, those kind of things. But then the kind of work that you do is very different. So you can definitely put the job title as data analyst. It's no big deal. I think you should definitely do it. Using OBS, yes, I am using OBS for streaming. Yes, that's correct. I also tried Streamlabs. So there are two softwares. One is open source, which is OBS, and the other one is Streamlabs. I tried Streamlabs. It has a lot of customizations and layouts and stuff, overlays. But I personally felt like the OBS is a lot better in terms of ease to use, if I want to call it. that way. And also it's open source, so I don't really need to worry about if I'm using a paid content while setting up the layout and stuff, because if I go live and then it will be like, boom, I'm gonna give you a watermark now and you need to buy this back and stuff. So yeah, yep, that's the first thing I'm gonna change in my resume. No problem. What is the mic you're using? It's a HyperX Quadcast S. I bought a used one, so it's not a new mic, because the new one was for around 120 pound or something like that. I got it for 70 pound. So yeah, and it works quite well. I just bought this boom arm additionally to put this mic a little bit closer to my mouth. The stand it came with was pretty small, so it was somewhere around here. Good to know that the audio is clear, so it was worth the investment, I guess. Is it fine if all the people here can add each other on LinkedIn? I think that's a good way to connect. Yes, definitely. Go ahead. And also, I recommend or suggest people to join Telegram or Discord, whichever you prefer, as well, because there also we have a community. If you're already part of it, it's great. But sometimes, if I'm not able to answer some of the questions in Telegram or Discord, there are other members. They try to provide their feedback on some of the questions. So it's always good to know what other members are thinking. How should we normally use ATAS with job description? How should we normally use? So there are few websites like JobScan, if I remember correctly. I used it quite extensively when I was creating my CV, and I used some of the job descriptions. It helped me to structure my CV in a way that it was good and it was being passed by ATA systems. And if you are doing your masters, then a lot of these universities have their own ATA system, and then you can make use of those and improve your CV. So I think you should make use of those systems as well. All you need to do is just upload your CV and upload the job description. It will try to map your CV with the job description and see what all keywords are there. Have you included any numbers, like impact numbers, those kind of things, and it gives you a score. So if a score is above 80, I think generally it is good, but there are some very aggressive ATA system where even score of 70 is also good. That's a great deal. Where did you buy, if I may ask? I'm sure. So I bought it from, I will put it in the chat. Yeah. So this is the website. I think it's cex.com. So I bought it from there. Does location within UK matters when applying? For example, I'm living near Scotland but applying for jobs in location like London and Leeds. No, it should not matter much, but you need to clearly mention in your CV that you are willing to relocate. Also mention those things on your LinkedIn profile as well, that you are willing to relocate to any location. So relocation shouldn't be a problem. So just mention those things clearly in your CV and you should be fine. Or you can also do like just mention United Kingdom, like Nishant mentioned in his chat. So that's also a good trick. Many companies ask if we have UK driving license as well for commuting. Yeah, that is true. Um, so one of my friends, she got her license right after her masters, probably because of the same reason. So yes, there are a lot of companies, they do ask for driving license. If you already have driving experience in India and if you know how to drive a car, I think it is a lot easier to drive here because people are very considerate. So if you take few driving lessons and learn all the rules and stuff, I think you'll be able to pass the test fairly easily. I still don't have driving license. Um, I haven't taken my test yet. I need to do it as well. Um, but I have not driven a lot in India as well. So, and the last time I drove was probably 5-6 years back. So it's been a while. So I need to take proper classes. I need to build some confidence in driving as well. So, yeah, I will be getting my license done probably next year, but yeah, it shouldn't be that challenging, hopefully. Yeah, I mean it's kind of odd. They ask for license, I suppose. Because you can always use public transport to commute to office. When I was applying, I think there were only couple of companies asked me, "Do you have UK driving license?" And I said no. But apart from that, I don't remember a lot of companies asking me about driving license. All right, I think we are about to reach that 1 hour mark. We still have like 10 minutes to go. I can take a couple of last few questions if there are any, but if there aren't any questions, then I think we can call it a day and we'll talk to you soon. Does certifications help as an experienced developer? Having certification can definitely help, but it is one of those things which is looked after your experience and projects and maybe um, maybe the experience descriptions that you have added. So it will be looked after your projects and experience. But if there are other people with similar experience and similar projects and similar education, then I think having certifications can definitely help. Some of the certifications that I can suggest are going to be the cloud related certifications. So could be from AI certification from Azure or AWS. Those certifications will definitely help because those certifications will suggest that you are well equipped with cloud systems and you can carry out the whole project in cloud environment and you're not just running in Jupyter notebook and those kind of things. So yes, they can definitely help. Also, does our visa status limit our job pool? It definitely does, because for example, if you are on a what was that, post-study work visa. Yeah, so if you are on a post-study work visa, some companies may not hire you just because they don't want to sponsor you in future. So if they hire you now, then they will have to invest in you, and maybe after 2 years, if they don't have the ability to sponsor your job, then they will have to look for someone else. So in that case, yes, some of the companies do not prefer people on skilled worker visa, so it can definitely limit you in those scenarios. So definitely the job market or the job pool is definitely a little bit smaller when you are on a visa. Hi Roshan, it's been a year since I have joined one of your streams. No problem, Rishabh, because I started doing this streaming just today after a very long time. So last live Q&A that I did was in April, I think. So after that, I haven't done any live Q&A because there were a lot of things happening around, a lot of things changing. So yeah, this is the first live session after a while, and I'm calling it a live Q&A season 2. Completed my master's from University of Bath with distinctions. Congratulations on that. That's a good achievement. And facing the struggles of the job market since a few months now. Yeah, that is there for sure. Job market is not great, and it hasn't been great for a very long time. I still check the Office of National Statistics vacancies, and it is still falling every month. So yeah, the job market definitely is not good, but that is something which is not in our hand. We just need to keep pushing and keep learning new things, develop some good projects, portfolios, and those kind of things, so that can eventually help us in getting a job. What would you say is the most critical aspect in landing an interview? To get an interview, I think your profile, and when I say profile, it's not just your portfolio where you have all your projects. It includes your GitHub profile, it includes your LinkedIn profile, and obviously your project portfolio. So those are the things which I usually categorize under profile. And then your CV. I think those are the things which are very important. And if you get those things right, you should start to see some upticks in the number of calls. All right, everyone. Thanks for joining. I will see you next Saturday, 12 p.m. UK time. I really miss this kind of session and interaction, but it's always good to be back. And I really look forward to these sessions. Really good discussions today we have had. So I will talk to you guys next Saturday, 12 p.m. UK time. Have a great Saturday and Sunday. Enjoy. Yeah, we'll talk to you next week. Bye. Happy learning. Let me send a sticker. There we go. You're welcome, Nishant. Good to talk to you.